A 19-year-old paid worker for the Jimmy Davis mayoral campaign in Bayonne is alleging, through his attorney, Peter Cresci, that Public Safety Director Jason O'Donnell had police harass and issue him a summons for distributing anti-Smith literature around the city. Hudson County TV met with Anthony Marroquin and his lawyer outside of Bayonne Municipal Court Tuesday evening to discuss the matter.
With Anthony Marroquin, who on Sunday, March 23rd, received a ticket for violating the handbill ordinance. Anthony was distributing newspapers that were critical of the Smith administration, and in doing so, Public Safety Director Jason O'Donnell, who doubles as our assemblyman, stopped Mr. Marroquin and waited until the Chief of Police, Ralph Ciani, arrived. Chief Ciani at that point put Mr. Marroquin, detained him in his police SUV, and waited a police officer, Justin Kazan, to come confiscate the newspapers, detain Mr. Marroquin, and issue a handbill violation ordinance and gave him the form of a ticket. Mr. Marroquin has the ticket. It can be a fine up to $1,250 with a minimum of $100.
Cresci argued that newspapers are not listed in the literature ban from distribution in the handbill ordinance, therefore the complaint has no merit.
The aspect of the ordinance here in Bayonne is that newspapers are exempt from the handbill ordinance. Handbills are defined as somebody advertising or selling merchandise or wanting you to come to an event. The newspapers do not purport to do any of those things. And the Bayonne Community News is also a newspaper here in town that's hand-delivered to door-to-door. And we checked with the city clerk, Robert Sloan, and they have not applied for any permits, nor have any other newspapers.
Ed, have you seen the prosecutor in the matter on this yet?
Yes, today's prosecutor is Robert Hennessy, and I checked in with him, and he had an interesting story to tell. He advised me that Justin Kazan, the police officer, has now amended his IR, which is the incident report, and he has decided that Mr. Cresci, myself, was a witness to the event, and therefore they're claiming that I cannot represent Anthony in court. We are going to take it before the judge. We've also taken it before the ACLU, and we've attempted to notify the Attorney General's office, because in doing so, we believe that Chief Ciani is attempting to enforce an ordinance that is in direct conflict with the First Amendment. And then we have Police Officer Kazan is also will be subject to an internal affairs complaint and also a complaint of theft. He took approximately 50 to 75 newspapers that were rolled, took it from Mr. Marroquin, and has never provided a hand receipt or an evidence tag for those newspapers.
So would it be fair to say that you think this whole incident is about politics and not about enforcing the law?
Absolutely. On March 3rd, on or about March 3rd, 2014, Chief Ciani was ordered by the Public Safety Director to put out a general order to the police officers with the handbill ordinance attached, and telling the captains that they have to enforce and have their people enforce, looking for political literature and handing out tickets. It is definitely a tactic by the Smith administration to violate people's First Amendment rights and also disallow any type of anti-Smith rhetoric.
Marroquin's legal counsel also said that a motion to dismiss was not accepted by the court, and he expects this matter to outlast the May 13th election, since the city will appeal the case if they lose. Mike McCarskey, a spokesman for the Mark Smith campaign, stated that Cresci's comments were much ado about nothing, since the incident in question was an obvious violation of the long-standing handbill ordinance.
Was clearly violating a long-standing city ordinance that spells out specifically what you have to do in order to hand things out in the city. You have to register with the city clerk, and that was not done. He was in clear violation of this ordinance. What is also clear here is that the materials that were being distributed by the Davis campaign violated state election law. There were no paid-for lines on them. They were in clear violation of state election law.
Another allegation they're making in terms of this issue, this has not been enforced in quite a while in Bayonne, but on March 3rd, Jason O'Donnell sent a notice out to the police department through Chief Ralph Ciani, and they're saying, this is basically only being put into effect because it's election time.
I mean, it's not a claim that I can speak to. You have to speak to the city. but what I do know is that it is a long-standing ordinance that clearly spells out exactly what you have to do, and this gentleman was in violation of that.
I'm John Hedis, Hudson County TV, Bayonne.